I will hold up the sign for the last 10, 5, and 2 minutes, as well as for the last 30 seconds of the presentation. During the last 10 seconds, I will indicate with my fingers the number of seconds remaining. If you have not finished your presentation after 20 minutes, you will be stopped in order to proceed with the Q&A period. The Q&A period of a maximum of 5 minutes is allocated to the jury at the end of your presentation. And please note that at any time you cannot say or repronounce the name or the location of the university.
Bon matin à toute la famille Légaré et membres de l'Assemblée. Il me fait plaisir aujourd'hui d'être ici. Mon nom est Frédéric et je suis avec mes collègues Sarah et Jisham afin de résoudre le mandat que vous nous avez confié. Votre compagnie, Hockey Supremacy, a connu un très grand succès depuis 2010, depuis sa fondation, offrant des produits de haute qualité, de l'équipement de hockey online où les gens peuvent acheter ces produits à de plus bas prix. Par contre, la question d'aujourd'hui est maintenant comment aider votre compagnie à continuer de croître, mais également atteindre de nouveaux membres pour sa plateforme et aussi, non seulement, comment continuer à se différencier au long terme. C'est ce que nous allons tenter de faire tout au long de cette présentation. Le reste de la présentation se déroulera en anglais. Par contre, à la toute fin de celle-ci, il nous fera plaisir de répondre à vos questions dans la langue de votre choix. So where is your company now? Basically, it's in a really highly competitive market. As previously said in the information given, the giants shops such as Canadian Tire are really eating up the sports equipment. Although your company is differentiating themselves because it's really specialized, where you have expert responding to you online when you're trying to buy a product. So really, that is not necessarily a big issue for your company, given that you're so specialized in the hockey field. Your differentiation, although your model is mainly based on pricing strategy. It's really offering the lower cost possible. One of Canada's weakness is the amount of goods we import from the US by buying online. But your company has countered that by offering that platform online. It's a Canadian-based company, and you can actually buy the best hockey equipment without having the custom and the shipping cost from the US. Also, if a customer finds the product at a cheaper price, it can actually provide the company with the report of that, and then that company, kind of like Best Buy, is going to just benchmark that price and also adding a discount. So it's really sold at the lowest price. As for the market trends, really parents are looking for the younger kids that are playing hockey to spend a lot of money on equipment. Obviously, it's really costly, and they're looking to to find also the lowest cost possible for their equipment. But given the concussion that Sidney Crosby had, for example, there's a lot of safety issues, and they're really trying to put safety as a main priority when they're buying the equipment. Also, we can see that hockey communities and customer loyalty, like your company, for example, all the owners are hockey lovers, and really it's a matter of the community. It's really supporting any events that is related to hockey locally, really showing the passion about the hockey. And we heard a great news actually this morning about that, since there's a tentative hockey lockout agreement. So I believe all your employers are really happy about that, since it's going to get resolved.
So now, the main thing that we see here today is how to grow your company in an increasingly competitive market. Obviously, we've taken 4 main decision criteria when moving forward. Number 1, passion for hockey. Your company was not built for passion for online shopping, rather, but for the passion for hockey, the players, the fans, and the communities which surround it. So it's how to get that passion and actually transmit it to your customers. Next, then we see customer growth. As mentioned before, the market is very competitive. But here comes 2 points. While offering low prices, how do you retain these customers, and how do you gain new customers? Then would be contractual restrictions. We can't forget those. They're very stringent agreements which a company has agreed to when being an online retailer. And finally, personalized experience. As mentioned before, when buying equipment at a higher level, higher quality products, it's very important that you're able to customize your product. Have kind of a relationship with that hockey stick you bring out to the game, and how do you bring that personalized experience, that sense of community, to an online shopping experience? So today, how to grow in an increasingly competitive market. Your goal is both to increase customer loyalty as well as to increase your growth. But how are you going to do this? Here we offer a twofold strategy, a push and a pull. Push meaning, how do you retain your current customers? How do you ensure that they remain interested in your company? Take advantage of market changes, for instance, the hockey lockout. Next, how do you actually get those customers and bring them in? Sponsor and attend local tournaments. And together, how do you bring your community of hockey together? Building an online community. Yes, your online platform is excellent, but how do you bring that to the next level? And what you'll see with this twofold strategy is an exposure to 100,000 players in 3 months, while generating $85,000 in revenue, all while retaining these customers through the online community. So just a quick recap. Push, go through the lockout trends. Hold any of these customers through sponsoring and attending these different tournaments. And finally, maintaining that current hockey sense of community, build an online one, which is your area of expertise.
As mentioned before, there are two main trends that are coming out that we need to take advantage of. First is the trend towards safer hockey. As mentioned before, Sidney Crosby suffered a significant concussion, and there's a lot of more manufacturers creating helmets now, such as CCM and Bauer, that are focused more on the safety of the minor league player. As well, there's also an increase in hockey coming up just after the lockout was resolved this morning. Now finally I have something to do every day. So we need to take advantage of that. There was a lot of commercials coming out by CCM. They were advertising, oh, I remember my first helmet, where they have these little guys and Bobby Orr running around, and they're really pushing. They cannot take away the game from us. They can take away the NHL, but they actually can't take away the passion to watch the game. So we need to actually utilize that. As well, we need to modify the product advertisements on the site in relation to the lockout. So like I mentioned, we need to be pushing coming out of the lockout instead of being in the lockout itself. So one of the ways to utilize this is that we wanted to create an interactive forum for customers. We feel that your website is absolutely amazing. It has everything from the discounts, the loyalty promotions. One of the things that we believe would be very important is to create an online community. So what this is going to have blogs, blogs about up-and-coming tournaments, products, anything about the NHL. And the reason why this is so important is that recently there was a study done about the top 10 online sporting goods stores. And the #1 ranked store was Dick's Sporting Goods in the US. And one of the main things that they were able to do is to create a sense of community among its members. And they did everything from helping each other rank different gears. What's the best, the best components, say you get a hockey stick, what is the best glove for that? And it's based on not just the expert that's trying to sell the equipment, but the everyday player, from minor league players from in Pee Wee all the way up to midget and bantam. And that's really important. What you guys have right now with your live chat is absolutely amazing. However, it is limited to 10 to 6. Having an online community that's available 24/7 allows for that individual one-on-one experience between customers. So for instance, if I'm looking to buy a hockey stick and I see a whole bunch of comments about the different aspects, the pros and cons, not just all the benefits, it allows me to appropriately buy the product that's the best suited for me. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to hire one part-time online expert employee who what they're going to do is they're going to monitor all these forums. They're going to be the ones posting the blogs. They're going to monitor who's joining these forums and what exactly they're posting.
We really wondered in any ways how to make it a more personalized experience given the fact that your company, The Essential, is basically a website. So basically what we thought of is to sponsor hockey tournaments. It would make it a much more personalized first-hand approach because those little kids, sometimes it's the parents buying the equipment and they want to try out. So you could, for example, give product testing so the little kid could go and try some of the sticks, some of the helmet, anything, and the parents could be sure, like we said before, that the market trend, that it's safe, it's also low cost, and your expertise could be shared there. Yes, it's really good that your company offers it on the website through like live chat with the expert, but it's also an added value just to have it face-to-face. So we thought of sponsoring different hockey tournaments. We would do it, for example, from September to December in the hockey tournament, but that could also change given the biggest tournaments happening. But we would start from the west, coming back more towards Quebec and Montreal, because this is where your bricks and mortars store are located. So when it's closer to Christmas, you're actually there being available to also answer customers here. We also thought about the initiative of building a new brick and mortar store more in the west, because right now they're located in Candiac and Brossard. But we didn't think that would be profitable for your company, given that in the US, the biggest competitors is Hockey Monkey, and right now they have they have revenues of 20 million, and 80% of them are online. Only 20 are in stores. And your company has a smaller customer base, so for the short term and medium term, we did not believe, as it would be, even though it would be a personalized experience, we did not believe that would be profitable for that time of recommendation. So this is why really sponsoring the hockey tournaments would be a great level of exposure for you while increasing their personalized experience. And those little kids that might try out some of the hockey stick, you always remember your first helmet, your first skate, and eventually you're much more likely to be the one purchasing it online. And also it increases the credibility because you actually met the expert and people that are responding to you. So while you go on that platform, you might be likely to actually go on the website and not necessarily be like, oh my God, I should have gone in store to get a much more personalized. So it allows for brand exposure to both the players and the parents, and the personalization aspect of the sales, also with the customization, it's an added value when they go on your website and they can actually get your helmet or their stick customized like your company already offers.
So in terms of the number and financial analysis, what we assumed then from the information provided that there's 577,000 minor hockey players in Canada. And what we did is we split that into 7 major geographical areas with the main province, and then we clumped together the maritime provinces as well. So we determined that there's going to be about 5 major tournaments per geographical area, and which is about 15 teams each, 6 divisions all the way from type, bantam to midget, with about 30 players per team. And what this allows us to do is it gives us the approximate exposure of about 100,000 players Canada-wide, as well as 150,000 parents. And especially with these parents, hockey parents are absolutely crazy. They're willing to wake up at 4 in the morning just to drive their players to practice. I remember for myself, both my mom and my dad came to my practices early on in the morning. And so this is really key to get this exposure to the parents. The kids will definitely, they'll push to get a certain product, but it's actually the parents at the end who's going to make the end decision. In terms of the online revenue, we determined that the average, from the information provided, the average visits per day were around 14,000. And so the average online sales are about 62,000, and this is based on Hockey Monkey's data that was provided. So we figured out that the average revenue per day, or per visit, is around $4.44. And based on the information provided, StatsCan told us that about 10% buy sporting goods online, and about 48% of Canadians actually purchase these goods as opposed to browsing. But this is for general sporting goods. As I mentioned before, hockey parents and hockey players are absolutely crazy about their purchasing, so these numbers are very conservative. So taking all these numbers into account, we determined that we can generate about $85,000 in revenue in 1 year. Although this might not sound totally staggering compared to what Hockey Monkey makes, we need to definitely take into account, though, that the purpose of having these online or having these tournaments is to gain a larger customer base in the short term, and then we can move to getting a lot higher revenues in the future after we've gotten a larger customer base. And then just in terms of the cost, so what we want to do is we want to hire 2 employees, and for the 3 months that they're working, we want to pay them about $5,000, and that will totally include all their housing, all their foods. And they're going to have a 1-month training program. And these people who are working across the country, what they're going to do is they're going to be hockey experts. So we don't need to train them in any sort of what the products are. They're going to know firsthand because they've used those products before themselves. What the training is going to actually encounter is just more about how to sell it properly and how to approach a customer in the tournament setting. As well, like I mentioned before, it's a 3-month campaign.
All right, so now what does this look like? So right off the bat, in the next 0 to 6 months, we're going to start with the end of hockey lockout. Hopefully, ideally, this agreement will come into play. And this is where you will really see the chance to take advantage of the current situation. Now, as mentioned earlier, end of lockout, new beginning. Pushing the jerseys, changing the advertisements. This shouldn't take long. This is not a strategy that will go on into long term, but rather something that you take looking forward. So if you look at different market trends that do occur in the hockey market, applying something like this to similar situations. It might seem like common sense, but really this is a time where you can capitalize on really ensuring that your customers remain loyal, that they don't continue to look elsewhere for lower prices, but rather they stick with you because they know you care clearly and dearly about hockey, but also you know what kind of events are coming up and how they are most going to enjoy these events. Next, the Canada-wide Hockey League Tournament. So how is this going to look? As mentioned earlier, this campaign is going to be 3 months long, ideally September through December, ending right before the holiday season. But in order to actually prepare for this, you'll need a lot of time. Hiring and training to employees for the campaign. Yes, this will take around a month, so it'll be towards the end of this preparation period. But preparing the hockey locations, which tournaments are you going to attend? Which geographical areas specifically? Are you going to have to change a specific campaign time because, let's say, a major tournament pops up? These are all things that you have to prepare for, get the employees ready for, get your stock ready for, etc. And also choosing the products which you will bring to these different tournaments. These will have to be of a basic kind. As mentioned, your online retailer is really where you offer the wide range of products that can be highly customizable, just bringing in staple items that people can actually look at and experience. Next, would be the actual launch of the campaign. So as mentioned, ideally sometime around September, December, leading up to the Christmas parents, where a lot of these parents will actually be making major purchases for their children. This, as just mentioned, can be adjusted based on the different tournaments. And then once this is ended, once your 3 employees have gone through, that's where you can assess the actual success of the campaign. See if it's worth rehiring these 2 employees who have done such a great job over the campaign. They thoroughly understand the products. If, let's say, the local tournaments appreciate coming in, be able to experience this first-hand product, and then later on purchasing things later online. Next would be the interactive forums for customers. So in the short term, yet again, hiring a part-time employee to fully monitor what is going on online. Online content, as great as it is to have product reviews, etc., based on actual customer experience, it is very important that you don't let the junk filter into your website. You don't want people spamming your website, and it's very, very important to actually stay on top of this. It's not something that you can let go. You are doing a fantastic job with your website. Everything's very easy to follow, but how do you bring that extra step where people can fiddle around and actually see the different videos? As well as approaching, let's say, experts who can make these product videos. If there are certain experts who use different products that you sell, how can you bring them in to actually capture their personal experience with the product in order to sell it to your customer? Then after that, same thing. See how successful it is. See if your customers are continuously using it. If not, maybe put an emphasis on the different blogs that you mentioned earlier. Maybe getting a wider variety of experts, maybe even getting videos from the different local tournaments that you've been visiting. So getting that minor league hockey player raving about a certain product that they just got from their parents. And that's actually bringing in, the different younger perspective, and then allowing them to push it to their parents. And finally, long-term implementation. So we've just discussed the 3 main points of our strategy being the tournament campaigns, online community, and monitoring market trends. However, as mentioned earlier, depending on the success of this, it is nice to have a brick and mortar store. You currently have 2 here in Eastern Canada, whereas in Western Canada, it tends to be a little bit more open, where you focus more heavily on the online purchases. As mentioned earlier, yes, the reason why online is so successful is because of the fact that you're reaching these communities which don't have access to brick and mortar stores. But it's something to consider depending on the demand from your new customers gained through these local tournaments as well through the online community. And now, just to go through what we've learned in this presentation quickly. So how to grow in an increasingly competitive market. How do you maintain high customer loyalty? And how do you maintain high growth? Here we propose 2 strategies, a push and a pull. Taking advantage of the current market situations, such as the current hockey lockout potential agreement, sponsoring and attending local tournaments, and finally building an online community to bring everything together. This will then lead to an exposure of 100,000 players in 3 months while making $85,000 in revenue, all while retaining customers through the online platform. So thank you very much for your time, and we now open the floor to discussion.
Thank you very much. I guess I'll just start with one quick question. You're promising $85,000 in revenues. Do you have an analysis of the full cost of this? Because it's a bit split up everywhere, is it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so in terms of the cost, when we're actually implementing the form, it's actually quite hard to judge how the actual cost associated with that. So what we want to do is just hire the part-time employee. This could be anything from an internship from the computer programming at any school across Canada, as well as, so for that, that's the cost associated with the online form. But in terms of the cost, we want to assume $5,000 for the 2 employees doing the tournament-wide program. And so, that's $5,000 salary, plus we're going to pay for all their housing as well as food. And it comes out, if you're working a 40-hour work week, it comes out to about $10.50 an hour. But you're doing what you love, exactly. You're selling hockey, you're selling all the products you're doing. So it's an amazing job, and people are definitely going to go onto it for the cost that it's costing the company.
And furthermore, that do you see any costs in the tournaments themselves?
The tournaments themselves, based on my own personal experiences, when you have like an outside company coming in, if it's a smaller tournament, the larger tournaments usually will cost a fee for sponsoring, but a lot of the smaller tournaments, they won't cost anything, because what it does, it creates more of an atmosphere, more of a community amongst the form of the hockey arena, where you have where teams are waiting around. It creates more of a buzz of an actual hockey tournament, as I'm sure you guys have all experienced before. So.
In terms of tournaments, have you thought about, about what you've seen about our company? What level of play do you think we should aim in terms of tournaments, and what kind of presence should we have there?
Well, actually, where we started off was which is why we mentioned minor league hockey players. You want those players who are highly dedicated, the ones where their parents drive them out 5 days a week, but they're a lot younger. These are the players who are trying out different equipment, and they're trying out the different names. They're being exposed to all these names, so you want to actually get these players at the younger age. That's why we propose the minor hockey leagues, which A, would be less expensive just because they're not the big ones, and B, you're retaining that loyalty at an early age.
Je vais poser ma question en français.
C'est ça.
Ma question concerne le forum intégratif au site Internet. Il y a plusieurs de nos compétiteurs qui le font déjà, et donc ont déjà accumulé des dizaines et des dizaines de reviews personnalisés. Je m'inquiète des premiers mois suivant l'intégration d'un tel forum où on a pour des produits 1, 2, 3 reviews, parfois 0. Donc, est-ce que ce serait nécessaire, selon vous, d'inciter les joueurs ou les clients par une certaine façon d'écrire sur notre site web, ou on devrait laisser ça aller?
Je pense que aussi avec les autres recommandations, ça va aller de soi. Présentement, en essayant moi-même d'aller sur le site et de nommer le nom de votre compagnie hier soir, il n'y avait rien qui sortait, il n'y avait pas de review, on voyait beaucoup Hockey Monkey et beaucoup des compétiteurs américains. Donc, j'avais vu également que c'était une opportunité de faire ça, simplement que sur votre site, il y a quand même des témoignages, des gens qui parlent de l'expérience, qui ont acheté le produit, de leur expérience avec vous, de l'expertise des gens qui répondent à leurs commentaires. Un ou l'autre, selon moi, est correct, mais je pense que ça va quand même aller de soi avec les recommandations. Si il y a les sponsors avec les tournaments par rapport aux parents, les parents qui vont aller écrire des reviews en achetant pour leurs enfants de l'équipement. Donc, mais certainement, c'est simplement que des fois, même si c'est un expert, un employé de votre compagnie, les clients peuvent avoir une impression qu'il peut avoir un biais, ça peut être un peu biaisé. Donc, c'est simplement d'offrir une autre opinion sur l'équipement, mais les deux façons sont bonnes, mais je pense que ça allait de soi avec la recommandation.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci.